get in front of our screens, one of the cameras. Hi there. Good morning, crew. Oh, there's another crew member. Dennis and Debbie already here. Good morning. Oh my God, what did you do with your hand?
I was being an idiot. I tried dressing myself and then I punched the frame of my door by accident, and I've shattered my hand and ruined my career in the progress.
Oh no! So glad you're still here. Glad you're still with us today. For all of you who don't know Dennis so far, he will be one of our keynote speakers today. So thank you, Dennis, for being here. Even though you've got this injury, and yeah, shows your commitment. Thank you. So we will start. I will just do a little check-in. Today is day 2, officially day 2 of our 48 hours hackathon, Motion Hacking Ocean Science. And I'm really happy that all of you are here for having a little breakfast before we go into the last hours of hacking and working, and until we reach the 4 o'clock mark, where we will be presenting our work to the audience. So it's getting excited. Like yesterday, of course, I brought my roll with me, and it's not the same as yesterday, even though it looks like it's a brand new roll. So I hope you also, you've got your mugs with cup or with coffee or tea with you. Micha maybe has got his cereals with him again.
Oh no, this was an emergency yesterday.
That was an emergency.
I'm not into cereals, but I can eat them.
Okay, so as we're still missing some of the crew, I will still say we should start. And like yesterday, I would like to know how things are going. If you had a good night, if you had a sleepless night, if you had a good sleepless night. However, it will be really nice to hear some voices, and thus I will now go through our crew and pin you so you can share your thoughts about your process so far and your experience. I will start right off with Sarah. Sarah, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad you're here with us. How's it going?
It's going well. Emma and I teamed up yesterday. Hi, Emma. And yeah, we're working on it. We have a storyboard, we have character design, we have first backgrounds. I don't know if we will finish the whole project today, but we will have something to show. That's for
right
sure.
On. Perfect. Sounds really good, really promising. And like I already said, the process is the goal here. So we are not heading towards a perfect 1 hour filling movie, rather than showing the process, showing progress, and showing growth. And that is what the whole event is about, right? So no worries about showing sketches or concept drawings. But of course, if you will have some cool gifts in the end, that would be, of course, the YouTube.
Won't be, we changed the idea. It's not about gifts anymore.
Okay, all right. So wow. So now I don't know. I don't have a clue what you will be doing. So that will be a surprise for me as well. So thank you, Sarah, for sharing. And next up will be Micha. Micha, how are you doing?
Yes, just working good. I worked on footage and put it on a trailer. Let's say the hint, but not a spoiler, is things usually get noticed when they're exaggerated, and this is the case. and we are starting very harmonically, and we have harmonic pictures of the ocean. And then we have, of course, an unexpected turn.
Okay. Don't tell us too much.
Yeah, this is the unexpected turn. Every story has that. Even what is it? The teeny tiny Walt Disney movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I'm getting really excited.
Yeah, that's a little bit of VFX. I'm still looking into this animation. Let's see if I can pull something up here.
Yeah.
It's an awareness movie, let's say, first of all.
I'm really looking forward in your work, and also here already mentioned that you don't have to be a super professional animator to create a really good motion concept. So I'm really, I'm especially curious what you came up with. So yeah, keep us excited. Yeah, of course, fingers are crossed. Thank you, Micha. I will now pin Emma, even though we already heard that you teamed up. Congratulations, that's really cool. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's been really good, and I'm really happy with it. So with Sarah, because I've already, just like sharing the ideas has been really inspiring. Sarah has shared some process images, and I was like, oh, I have never thought of doing it this way. So that's already been very helpful, and I like the idea that we're going with. It's a very natural process. So hopefully we can get it to. I'm pretty confident that we can get it to some good stage today.
That's the mood. Yeah, that's the right attitude. Cool. I'm really excited to see what you came up with. And Emma, I just explained, Emma created a Discord channel for the crew so we could exchange ideas there. And I did not check the Discord channel that you created for your team because I don't want it to spoil myself. So I'm really, I don't have a clue what you're doing. So I'm really excited to see what you will be presenting at 4 o'clock at this date. Thank you, Emma. So who's next? Who's next in row? We've got Ann-Kathrin. Ann-Kathrin, how are you doing?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm good so far. I actually combined my architecture background with the ocean interest like myself. So yeah, like the hybrid system we talked about yesterday. So I'm into a small animation video with, yeah, a bit of science background, but then also a bit of utopian architecture. So
love it.
yeah, it's like I think it's, yeah, I'm on my way. Perfect.
And you're sitting out in the sunshine. That's also really, it's a good attitude to start the day with a sunlight bathing. So yes. Really good inspiration.
And I'm excited for the talk now.
Yes, you can. I absolutely can assure you that this is, it will be exciting. And looking also forward to that. So let's see, Alexandre is also joining us, and I will pin your screen. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. So yes, the work is in progress. So I've launched a lot of 3D render this night, and I think it will be good.
Perfect. You look very awake and fresh. So yeah. I wouldn't have expected that you worked through the whole night. So
no, not me, the computer.
Your tiny people in the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they work a lot. Okay. Oh, that's. I'm really also excited because you're the only one, I think, in the team who works with Houdini.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what you came up with.
Yeah.
And so I will now wanted to share one very important thought. Oh, sorry, Emma, Debbie. Of course, you guys also work with Houdini, and or Emma or Debbie at least. So
No, we're just very interested in Houdini.
All right. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I just read the chat while talking, so I might have mixed it up. So one thing I wanted to say just before I forget it, if you're working with any motion graphics program like Houdini or Cinema or whatever, please keep in mind the render times. So if you haven't that, just in case you want to render out a video, you will of course need to calculate the render times into the time frame we've got. So just in case you're so focused on your work, don't forget the render times. Can be really, really a pain in the ass. But now we already heard something from our guests, and I would like to introduce them to you shortly. The studio Doppelreal or Doppelreal, it's up to you, I guess, how to pronounce it. If you want to do it in German, I think both of them are okay with that. Are a well, it's I would say a digital production studio now based in Kiel, and I'm so happy that both of them are not just in Kiel but super close to the Anscha campus and also kind of connected to the Anscha campus. They're creating really interesting stuff here, but they will talk about that maybe just in a bit. And they focus on bringing XR experiences as well as digital art to different kinds of venues like museums or institutes, where they also teach using Unity, for example, or creating XR experiences. And they found themselves, or they started as a digital arts duo in 2013, I guess. And they were, for a long time, they've been in Scotland, and they worked there as this artist duo. And now they came back to Kiel, where I think their journey started, kind of. And in 2020, they created the virtual production studio Doppelreal. So let's hear themselves. And I would like to, I think I will pin Dennis, or should I pin you both?
No, just me. I've got the presentation on my computer, so.
Okay, so I will pin your screen and leave the stage. And yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit about some things I missed saying or I misinterpreted. So yeah, stage is yours, Dennis. Thank you for being here.
No, thanks for inviting us. Yeah, so me and Debbie, I'm on the microphone. Debbie doesn't have a microphone, but she's in the chat. She always likes to do the chat thing rather than the speaking to camera thing.
I can maybe briefly say hello as well.
Yes, here she comes with our dog.
Hi.
Hi.
That's Debbie. Yeah, so we're currently in our home. We're working from home because we do VR and digital editing and stuff like that. So we can actually stay at home, which is nice. Yeah, our journey started in Kiel. Yes, I was born in Kiel, Germany, and then I ran away with Debbie to Scotland to study there, and we did work there after that as well. But I'll get into the details in a bit. If you've got questions, just write them in the chat, and Debbie will take care of it. And otherwise, yeah, if you have questions at any point, just interrupt me. Say, "Shut up, Dennis. I've got a question." That's the official way of doing it. "Shut up, Dennis." You have to say. Otherwise, I will not shut up. Okay. I think we've lost Emma. No, we've lost somebody. I think. Was it Emma? No, that was Sarah's partner in crime.
I think she will be back. I will let her in when she's back. She will be back. Should
I just start then, or I can just slowly small talk a little bit and then go into the presentation once Emma is back?
Yes, if you like to do that.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Yeah, again, thanks for inviting us, Matthias. I am very scared of anything hackathon. Like whenever I hear hackathon, I think, okay, 2 or 3 days of doing something, that's not enough. That just makes me stressed, and I feel unaccomplished at the end. And maybe even met people that I don't like. But when you do a hackathon and all that happens, that's perfectly fine. As Matthias said before, it's about learning, right? And not about achieving. So and already I can see that you seem to be a great group. So I don't need to be afraid of hackathons anymore, seeing that you all seem to be nice people. Is that right, Matthias, or am I just misjudging?
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I really can assure you that the crew is. We could put the crew on a submarine, go underneath the sea, and it will. I think everyone will come out alive after 1 week. I guess we will. It depends on the size of the submarine, of course, but that would also happen with a great. With a perfect, super peaceful harmony family. So I think we need a little bit bigger boat, but I think we will all get out alive. So yes, great crew, and I'm really excited that all of them are still here and motivated. So yeah,
absolutely. It's like when we thought, okay, we're gonna give a keynote Sunday morning, one of the last days of the hackathon. Probably most people will be like, no, I can't deal with this anymore. I need to finish something and not participate. That's how I always approach these things. I kind of like wait till last minute and then try to render a 4K video in 10 minutes. I'm stupid, as you can see. I'm stupid. So, you know, I'm not making good decisions. Okay, so. Yeah, I can just slowly kind of start. And if Emma, because the beginning is kind of like, I'm just explaining like our journey, how we got into VR and XR at the beginning. So I'll just start off slowly. I think that will be fine. Okay, I'm just jumping over to the presentation. Gonna full screen it. Just a second. Okay. So yeah, me and Debbie, we are Doppelreal or Doppelreal, and we call ourselves a digital reality design studio. Digital reality design studio because we've always had a lot of complications trying to explain to people what it is that we're actually doing, especially in VR. And those people of you who also dabbled or are doing VR, you know how difficult it is to explain to people when they've never done VR or XR before. But yeah, a digital reality design studio sounds kind of like quite big, so we quite like that. So as Matthias already said, and I mentioned as well, we started off in Kiel, so nice beach, summer, and then we went to England because I got a job offer at Rockstar Games. The thing that I was doing for Rockstar Games wasn't actually all too exciting. I was just a translator, but I did get to see basically the whole production view. And by the way, here, Kiel, summer, Lincoln, also summer. Oh, yeah, it wasn't great. So that was back in 2009. So yeah, in 2009, Debbie and me, we left Kiel to work at Rockstar Games. But then after 2 years working there, we decided to start studying because we never finished studying in Kiel, Germany. So we went over to Scotland. For one, because there's no tuition fees in Scotland, which is not true anymore, thanks Brexit. But back then we were still, we didn't have to pay for our university, which is great. That's a good thing. So I studied sculpture in Edinburgh. You can see this was actually one of my studios. So for my degree show, for my final show, I had this bigger studio together with one other person. And that's such a privilege. It's almost sickening. But yeah, it's nice. So if you want to study art, do it in Edinburgh. It's got a nice view. And Debbie studied medicine in St. Andrews down here. So those are the kind of like cape-wearing medical students. Then in 2013, both me and Debbie graduated. This is part of my degree show. So I did like life-sized sculpture This is basically, this is from wax, and it's got a metal armature in there. And it's basically life. Basically, it's me. It's got my Spice Girls t-shirt on, and it's about my losing battle against video game addiction. Yes, which now that I've got a broken right hand, I have to go cold turkey anyway. Then after the degree show, I was kind of successful, I would say, as an artist. I had a couple of solo exhibitions, and the thing was that me and Debbie, we basically started working together as artists back then. So we did a show in London, which was an installation. We did a immersive theater piece called the Job Centre Super Plus in Edinburgh, which was really, really nice. That was a good thing. What we did was, there was an abandoned job centre, and we got a hold of the keys. So then we planned a night of immersive theater where we invited people to go to their job center interviews. So we sent actual kind of cards out in the post. So they thought the job center actually wants to see them. Yeah, and then we got them in, and it was a whole thing, and it was really nice. That was good. Here's another sculpture. That thing was talking. You could kind of push him through the exhibition, and he would talk about how great the exhibition is. Stuff like that. In London, I had a telephone installed. Whoops. Don't talk. In London, we had a show where you could call me from a telephone, and there was other things in there as well. So everything very, very 3D, sculptural. It's just art, basically. Another thing that I then did was I used to work as a rug tufter. So I made rugs, teppich, the furry things on the floor, rugs. And that was my day job. So basically for other artists, I was making artistic carpets. And as you can see, so there's a 2D representation of what that carpet is, but the thing that the carpet was supposed to be is something to dance with a ballet troupe. So we had to come up with a way how to basically disassemble the rug, but then also make it to reassemble into a actual useful piece of furniture. But yeah, as you can see, the kind of the narrative string here is that it is 3D kind of spatial work that me and Debbie have done before going into digital artwork. So what we did then, so I had my sculpture practice, and together with Debbie, we had installation practice. But in 2014, we applied at the Scottish Creative Institution. It's called Creative Scotland, and they funded us to basically transition our physical practice into a digital practice. So they already started back in 2014 to tell artists, hey, look at digital stuff, it's useful, it's nice. And we were like, oh yeah, of course, because then we don't have to make sculptures anymore that don't sell and have to live with us in our living room, but we can just make digital things. And with digital things, the space is a lot easier to get. So part of the funding was that we suggested to them we're going to do a couple of shows, and they're going to be all digital, digitally made. So we did one 3-channel video called The Strip, which had, so 3-channel means you could play it on one monitor, but you can also play it on 3 different monitors. And we did it as an installation of 3 different monitors. So on the left-hand side monitor, you would see the greenhouse that Kurt Cobain has killed himself at. Then in the middle, there was 3D data from NASA, from Mars. Is back when they sent the rover the first time, it's now back up again. So it's sending 3D data now again. And you can get that for free from the NASA website and use it royalty-free, I think. And then on the right-hand side, we've made a representation of Sunset Boulevard, the Sunset Strip, and all the kind of places that involve death and fame. So that's more of our artistic practice. As you can see, everything is a bit about death and fame and stuff like that. But one thing we learned back then was basically 3D modeling and how to handle 3D assets. So the texturing, the animation, but also kind of like all the programs that we need in order to actually produce something and have an output. which in our case was first of all Blender. So we are using Blender exclusively as our 3D modeling tool. We bake textures in there as well. We do the animation in there, and then we take that, and then we make an animation film out of that. And that was basically what the strip live drawing class was, as well as Oma and Shit Job t-shirt uniform. The improvement of Invalid Youth was something a little bit different. Was also a 3-channel video, but with some kind of masking aspects as well. Okay, but just to summarize, we made sculptures and installations and then asked the Scottish government, hey, by the way, can you give us money and we make exhibitions that are stemming from a digital practice rather than from a physical one, and make art and present it. One of the bigger, what then followed was we were asked by the Festival of Architecture in Scotland to do something. And we suggested to them we want to make a VR piece about brutalist architecture in Scotland. So back in 2016, a couple of brutalist architecture was demolished in Scotland, and we hated that because we like brutalist architecture, especially Scottish one. It's insane. So if you Google brutalist architecture Scotland, you'll find some amazing architecture. It's really great. So, and we had the opportunity to put a VR piece on the traveling gallery. And the traveling gallery exists since the 90s, I think. And what they do in Scotland is they put art in that traveling gallery bus and they drive all around Scotland on the aisles and little communities just to showcase art to people. Because they don't have a museum there or no gallery or no opportunity to go to the biggest city where you can see art. So that was really great. What we did was basically we had a monitor here in the traveling gallery, which was showing what the person was seeing in VR. Was there a question? No. Okay.
Sorry, I was unmuted.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. I was just wondering if there's a question. So if you have got questions, just as you know, shut up, Dennis, and then I'll listen. Okay. So one monitor, and you could see what the person was seeing on that monitor. We did that because we knew that probably people who are not familiar with VR will not use the thing if they don't know what they're expecting inside it. Back in 2016, we had the unfortunate situation that back then, the Gear VR was quite popular in the UK. And so there were the first iterations of VR experiences on telephones. And a lot of people did roller coaster apps. And because it's on the Gear VR, so the frame rate is bad and the shaking is bad. So it's basically, it's a bad experience. And most people also get sick from it. So we had to work against the notion that VR will just make you sick. And it's just kind of like an onslaught of information and you can't deal with it and it's too much. So in order to kind of fight against that, we thought, okay, we show more. So it's not a surprise when you go into the threshold, over the threshold of going into the digital. So you already know where you're getting into. And also you have like a guiding person next to you who can tell you, hey, by the way, look at this, look at that, and so forth. There was a little bit of interaction as well. You can barely see here, there's like a little tape recorder on there. And it was kind of, you could play basically the story of the person who found an abandoned neo-brutalist architecture and has now started to inhabit this architecture. So instead of brutalism being demolished, we reoccupied brutalist structure just to make it a livable space in the digital realm. Yeah, and that was one of the greatest things that we've done because the people had such great feedback. People were really loving it just because it was quite gentle and it was the first time they experienced VR. And that was great. It was really, really, really good. And basically back then we then realized, okay, it is VR or XR that we want to do forever. So. And that we did start. So because we did all of these kind of little exhibitions and little experiences, a couple of people got noticed us, basically. One of them was the Glasgow Short Film Festival, for which we did a VR movie house. So basically, they had a selection of films for VR, and we made an app so you can navigate in a digital cinema and watch the different experiences there. We also made 3 real-time 3D experiences based on artists' work. And you can see them here in the screenshot. Stephanie Mann, Beagles and Ramsey, and also The Strip piece reimagined as a 3D animation in VR. We won the Light Bites Award for that. And because of that, the BBC got wind of us, and they commissioned us to do something for the Edinburgh Festival. And if you have an Oculus Go or Gear VR, I'm not sure if you can do it on the Quest. This is for free, so you can download that for free and just watch it. I'm not quite sure if that link works. Oh no, that's just a link. Yeah, and we did that, and we were nominated for European television prizes. So yeah, a lot of television prizes suddenly for that, although it was VR, which was really curious to us. We didn't win, but it was still nice. Also, we got invited to Berlin and had a hotel there. That was really, really good. It was a good hotel. They had a sauna. That was nice. Okay, Pause Reality. Basically, what Pause Reality was is kind of like one of the pieces we did for the Edinburgh International Science Festival. So this is now also the time when we are starting to go from independent artists making physical sculptures to independent artists making digital experiences, to being digital artists now starting to work with science or scientists. And that changed our approach a little bit, but I will get into that a little bit later as well when I talk about our connection to Glasgow University. But yes, Pause Reality was the first piece we did for them, and it was a VR short story as well, so 3D animation about basically when you go into the headset, you go into the real reality, and real reality is basically just Clippy from Word, the Word art Clippy, and he's talking to you and saying, "Oh God, the simulation has stopped." And now he has to reset it. So when you take the headset off again, you're back in the simulation of the year 2017. Back then, of course, now you'd be in the simulation of the year 2021. That was the idea of that. So basically, within the headset, you are in actual reality, and your real reality is a simulation. And we showed that to kids. So if Scottish children are starting to dissociate from reality, that's mine and Debbie's fault. But we're not there anymore, so who cares? We also did then Intern, which was our first kind of complete game. So the idea of Intern was that the president back then, it was Donald Trump before he became, well, he was always a super racist, but back in 2017, he was more of a joke than a white supremacist publicly. So it was more of a fun game back then in 2017. And we got into the final of the Sundance Institute Story Lab with that, and that was really nice. That was a good kind of boost of confidence for us that we can actually tell stories as well and make a game, basically. And that's just me and Debbie, just 2 people. The National Theatre we worked with in 2018 did an AR app with them. You can look at that video as well. Basically, it's got markers that relate to a theater production about autism. That's why you've got like the markers being kind of like a labyrinth that also mimic the structure of a brain, not the structure, but kind of like images of a brain. And when you find those markers in the woods in Scotland, there's a specific park where they are hanging. You can still kind of trigger the videos that have been made by children from a school for learning difficulties. And they were kind of like representing their own autism in those videos. So instead of us talking about autism, we wanted the children that actually do have autism to express themselves. And you can find those videos still in Scotland, in that park, in Kelvin Grove Park. If you ever go to Glasgow, let us know. We'll point you in the right way. And then, most curiously, we also got we basically got cold called by the British Army because they Googled VR Scotland, and they got us. And they asked us to do a VR piece for the festival. So the Edinburgh Festival is one of the biggest festivals in the world for arts, theatre, anything, comedy. And the British Army is not allowed to show at those festivals because of recruitment. Like it's problematic, of course. Why is the British Army at a festival for family entertainment? What's the point? So the rule for them is they have to commission artists independently, and they can show something that relates to the British Army. So, but they are not allowed to tell us what to do. And that was basically their undoing. Haha. So we basically did a piece about PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder, for people who came back from the First Gulf War in Britain and were basically abandoned by the British government to basically descend into PTSD trauma. And that was what the piece was about kind of like government leaving people traumatized by war, kind of like by themselves without help. And they hated us for doing that. But who cares? Because Brexit happened. And with Brexit, we decided in the summer of 2019, let's go back to Kiel, just because that's our hometown. So we got to know some of the kind of institutions and kind of people that work within Kiel, like, for example, the Starter Kitchen, which is like a startup place. Waterkant is a festival for also startups. We're working together with the German Red Cross right now, and stuff like that. We've got also Sister City Life, which is a project we did with artists from San Francisco. And we did that with Annika Hartmann from Kiel also. She is a theater maker. And what we wanted to do is create a virtual space for 2 artists from Germany and 2 artists from San Francisco to basically share a virtual flat together, and then kind of try to express how pandemic life has affected their relationship to their own homes. Because as you know, when we were locked in, your own home could be very oppressive, or you could kind of start to turn that around basically and start kind of feeling about some items that you have in your household as items of actual kind of hope, or kind of like things that tell you, okay, I've got resilience, I can get through this, we're going to make it. So that was the gist of that. So, okay, as I mentioned before, we were moving slowly from being independent artists to helping out university or scientists to visualize their projects. Not only visualize them, but also basically come up with concepts of installations or public events that would tell an audience that does not know about the technology or the science in easy ways how that technology can help out in future technologies. So it's basically, again, we are simulating a possible future. And that's basically our task when we are working together with the Glasgow University. We also did a presentation with them, basically explaining to them how a magic trick works. Because basically I showed them the scene. Do you guys know the film, what's it called again? The Prestige. Do people know the film, The Prestige?
Yes, it's amazing.
Great, yes, and yeah. So there's a scene in The Prestige. It's about two magicians trying to come up with like a career-defining magic trick, and one of the so both of them have the same mentor, and the mentor tells both of those magicians the same story how a magic trick works. So basically, the first thing you do is you introduce something real. And what Michael Caine, who's the mentor in that film, does is he shows like a little bird. And then so you establish a reality, bird exists, then you do something, the magic trick, and suddenly the bird disappears. So the way that Michael Caine does that in the film is basically he just claps his hand together and then suddenly the bird is gone. in his hand, gone in his hand. And what happens then is that you still need to then kind of almost explain the magic trick, because yes, you can show a magic trick, but if you then do not normalize reality again, people will not understand that it is a magic trick. They will just see, oh, something happened. But the last step of every magic trick is basically telling the audience, in a way, why they should be kind of amazed. And that kind of talks we were giving to academics back in 2018 as well, just basically telling them you need to present your research as well, and it needs to be presented well. And it can also include some magic tricks. Don't shy away from magic tricks. So one of the projects was Telescoper, and we did that with Swansea University in Wales. And what the project was is basically here on the top right, you can see a historical mining site from the 70s, I think. So this was because of Thatcherism. Mining sites did not work anymore, so they just kind of demolished all of these buildings. And here you can see what it is now. So this is basically on the bottom right, you can see what is left of the mining site, and it was huge. And now on the left-hand side, you can see it's basically like a little park, and there's a car park there as well. You can see the two towers there. So one step of that project was that Swansea University already commissioned a studio to digitize the site. And they did a lot of 3D models they made, but just like the original mining site, all those digital files were also lost. Nobody knows where those digital files are. That's the only thing that remains of it is a short animation where you can see all the 3D models and stuff like that, but the 3D models themselves gone. So it's basically the loss of cultural heritage sites twice, once in reality and the second time digitally. So what Debbie did is she rebuilt a couple of those things and then put it into Unity. And once we had it in Unity, we could then export it out into a Gear VR. And what we did then was the University of Glasgow, Dr. Julie Williamson, she had the idea to put it into one of those telescopes. So this was supposed to mimic like these tourist telescopes you put coins in, but instead of looking into the distance, you look into the past. And so for us, that was quite interesting to see how an audience would react. But yeah, for the researchers, it was their question was how much can they increase the dwelling time at historical sites? So for them, it wasn't like about a good representation of the thing. It just had to. They just wanted some answers, and they needed something there in order to gauge the numbers and start the science. So of course, that's not what we are doing. We're kind of like, we're just giving the content and adjust the content also according to what the scientists also are asking us. So if you want to increase the dwelling time, it should have some interaction or no interaction, because then the scientists can also kind of make a distinction. Does the dwelling time increase when there is interaction or not, and stuff like that. We are now doing this project as well. It's starting up again soonish in Glasgow, because there's been a lot of demolishing going on there as well. So it's really about making kind of visualizing historical sites and not losing kind of that aspect of history. The next project we did was Levitate. Levitate is a project where Glasgow University basically, well, not Glasgow University, but scientists figured out that they can make particles levitate by shooting ultrasound at them. And that's what you can see here. Don't mind the Legos, that's just building. So these are two styrofoam small balls. And from up top here, ultrasound is being shot at these little balls. And because ultrasound is also kind of bounces off the floor here, you get basically ultrasound coming from the top and the bottom, and it traps particles in a pocket of sound. that's what they did. And because right now it's so limited that you basically, it's just a two, I think they can now levitate four styrofoam balls. But the end game of this is basically what me and Debbie had to figure out. So they had the technology, they knew they could levitate these things, but why? why are we doing this? And what for? What's the plan, basically? How can we use this in human interaction with things? And so that's where me and Debbie came in. Of course, they already have a couple of ideas. I can tell you now, kind of like one part for this technology is basically it could replace our screens. Basically, if you imagine one of those styrofoam balls being a pixel, and if we can then levitate, I don't know, 1080 by 1920 pixels, then we have a configurable screen that we can move about and reconfigure on the fly, because the ultrasound can basically move the pixels in space as well. So you've basically got a screen that can move in space and can be rearranged. So you can also split it in two and then have a particle screen on your right-hand side and a particle screen on your left-hand side, and so forth. And also as a representation of 3D objects, because if you can imagine this being like a vector in space, and you've got 1 million of them, then you can also suddenly, through ultrasound, make a thing appear out of nothing. Yeah, so that's basically the long-term goal with that kind of technology, and we're still kind of involved with that. But I think the Levitate project is now kind of going into a different phase. Okay. So, and what we did then was basically, here you can see a little representation of where we started thinking about what can we do with that kind of technology. And this is just in Blender, it's just a mock-up. We still have the final presentation for that somewhere, but I couldn't find it this morning, and my finger is too broken to look kind of thoroughly. But what we thought is, because one thing you can do with those styrofoam balls, because they're physical objects, you can actually touch them. So, and if we then think, okay, if we have like a board here, like a Magic Leap scanner type thing, and you can put your hand in there, then the data of your 3D scanned hand is going to be represented as styrofoam floating balls, and you can actually then kind of like do a handshake from afar. So this could be in Tokyo, and you're in hospital in Köln, but you can still hold the hand of your loved one from anywhere. So that was one of the ideas that we had. Like I said, the final presentations I couldn't find this quickly, but I'll look for it and share those with you as well. But me and Debbie then basically did a lot of sketches like these. So I guess this is basically this would be the outcome of a hackathon. Yeah. And which was kind of like trying to think of ways how to use the Levitate technology. And as you can see, I've done some drawings as well, just to help the scientists kind of start understanding what we are on about, what they are on about, and just getting that conversation going. Because the great thing about collaboration between scientists and artists, or kind of scientists and anyone really, is that scientists just want data. That's the great thing about them. They're basically agnostic in how to interpret that. So there's no bad or good kind of data. Data is data, which is great. That's nice. And with that data, you can then start making decisions about your practice as well, which we realized, for example, we have a very close relationship with a psychology doctor in Barcelona who's studying and writing papers about the psychology of VR. And yeah, we're working very, very closely with her and her findings in order to not make mistakes in XR. But yeah, be on top of the research and know what to give an audience in order not to harm them, but yeah, enhance their lives, because the technology is still so new that you can actually harm people if you do it wrong. But yeah, you have to get out of your way in order to harm people and make them sick. So I'm very sure that you will not do that. The project that is now starting up again is Viajero, which is the Spanish word for traveler, and they got that project because of the interest of self-driving cars and XR. So in the future, we are all not driving anymore. We're in kind of like a kind of bubble-shaped cars, and they're driving by themselves. And because we're not driving, we're very bored. So they're thinking of ways of how to make self-driving car journeys less boring. And they want to do that through XR. But also, then there's the problem of a driving car, then a person in VR sitting, not moving. That's basically vomit central. And their question is how to not make people vomit when they are using XR in a moving vehicle. The problem there is very physical, basically, because our brain kind of knows when it is moving, which is nice of our brain, like most of our brains do that. But it can also realize, because of pressure inside the air, that when something is moving, so we know when we're sitting in a car, we are not moving, but we know the car is moving, just because of pressure differences in our air. Now, if you are in VR, and in VR you're doing something completely different again, your brain starts getting a lot of different mixed signals. And that can cause either stress, or it can cause nausea, or whatever. It's just unpleasant if your brain gets too many competing signals. So that's that's at the core, basically, of our artistic practice as well, because we are, like, our job is to represent some kind of reality to an audience. And our audiences have brains, and we are sending signals to those brains. And it's nice of us to not make it so confusing to people that they actually have a bad time. Of course, there's art that deliberately does that, and I've done that kind of art in the past as well, but we don't do that art with scientists, unless they are specifically asking us to do that. And they did. Especially Dr. Julie Williamson, she's done a lot of research about how to learn in VR. And there's a strand of research right now that basically tells us that if we have controlled bad experiences, those actually benefit us in aiding us to learn and aiding us to interact and stuff like that. So it's basically like little injections of stress that make you more resilient if you do it correctly. So yeah, there's research about that as well. So I think maybe Debbie's even putting that in chat. I don't know. Okay, but yeah, we can share this presentation as well, so you can have a look through here as well, or if you've got questions about that. So yeah, the group in Glasgow is now, it's not just the computing science department anymore, it's now the multimodal interaction group, and yeah, we're part of that, and we're kind of looking forward to what they're kind of doing. And this is very in analog to what you're doing right now as well, because you're trying to kind of look into reality, interpret reality, and then represent that reality back to other people. And that's a difficult thing to do. But it's very rewarding. It's a very rewarding process. Yeah, and that's basically what me and Debbie have been doing. There are a couple of projects that we're currently involved in. Apart from trying to heal my broken hand, we're doing something called VR at Home, which is basically 360 VR films for institutions here in Kiel and then to send those VR headsets to people at home. So basically, I think the Augsburg Theater has a system like that already. They've been working with the university to send out basically headsets, and then you can watch what they've been doing. It's quite nice, because headsets are still, not everybody has a headset, of course. Oh yeah, there's more. Oh yeah, we're working with Grimwelt 2, and trying. So the current problem, it's not really a problem, but the current kind of challenge right now is to talk to institutions that have not routinely worked digitally. So whenever you, as an artist or as somebody who's kind of trying to to illustrate something for them, and you do that within the digital realm, is sometimes quite difficult, depending on the institution, to talk to them. So I'm just saying that because it can be very frustrating, and I just want to tell you, if you've been running into those frustrations, we all share them. So it's not you, it's them. Okay. Oh yeah, and as Debbie said, yeah, we used to be called Dennis and Debbie Club, just because .club was the cheapest website, and we thought, oh, Dennis and Debbie .club, yeah. So we're Dennis and Debbie Club. That was our artist duo name. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, just write us emails. We love hearing from people and seeing what they're doing. So at 4, you're going to have your presentations, right? Yep, I'm going to set myself an alarm. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to judge you very harshly. No, I'll be just very happy to see something new. That's always good, because that's the great thing about working within arts or the digital arts and kind of going into science a bit, is that you see so many new things and you can explore things, and if you get the right kind of working relationship with your partners, you can explore so much. And it's a vast world of digital experiences out there, and all of us are just getting started learning these. So if for example, in XR, if you're now starting with XR, you are already kind of like the vanguard of XR production, just because you're interested in it. Just because there is an infrastructure, there are companies and stuff and gaming companies, but kind of like XR within non-gaming environments, that's still completely new. And so that's why it's really just exciting to get more and more people in, get their perspectives and stuff like that. So yeah, the more people, the better.
Yeah, wow, yeah. Okay, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Debbie. This is really inspiring. And well, of course, we know each other because we both used to work here at Anschel Campus in Kiel. And but still, listening to you guys and it sounds like you're constantly on a huge playground, on digital wise or digital playground, and you're just throwing around sand and sand forms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and sorry, I was just and that's so cool. So can continue playing and being kind of a child, but on the same way, you're super serious, and you have this scientific proof of concept, and you have your scientific backup, which is so important. So that's what we already heard, like from our previous keynote speakers, is whatever you do when you start communicating scientific context, it's always so important to stay authentic and to have like no matter how your characters look like, for example, in an animation, as long as the image, the message is proven and scientific and right, and the message is right, it doesn't matter what technique you use and how crazy your characters might look, or how sophisticated your art might be, or how abstract. This is, and it's really, you showed that pretty well, and it's really interesting to see what you're coming up with constantly.
I think we've been quite lucky with that, though, just because we were in Scotland, and Scotland was very nice in terms of admitting that the cultural sector does not know everything about culture, which is a very important thing. Like, even if you have professionals, once the professionals tell you they know everything, kind of like your red signal should start flashing, because nobody knows everything. And they were quite nice about that. And they also left us the space to explore and do our own thing and then come back to them. Which was nice, which is very important, because everybody works differently. So I think we were just very lucky that we had partners that were just really nice as well. because it can go differently. We've made that experience as well, where communication just breaks down, where you just don't quite get on the same page. And most of the time, these stressors have been external. So it's never been anything that has been like a stressor within the work, if that makes sense, but more like outside pressure that pressures the institution to do a thing in a certain way. And then you have to adapt to that. And although it might not make sense to you as a practitioner and stuff like that. Like, for example, we have made a concept for the Grimmwelt. And the Grimmwelt is a charity, or a Verein, as it's called in Germany. And because of that, they have certain stipulations how to give out commissions. And we've made a XR concept for the Grimmwelt and applied with them for funding, and we got it. But now, because the Grimmwelt is a charity, they now have to, because it's in their statutes, they have to basically send out invitations to other people to do the project with them, and not us. So that's one thing they have to do because of their own rules. And I did not know that, and I was like, when I first heard, I was like, I'm applying for the thing that I made up. That's weird. And they were like, yeah. I was like, okay. And it's like, that's nothing that I can change, nothing that the person that I am working with in the institution can change. Is an institutional problem. Yeah, don't get too frustrated with those. Those are external things. Don't internalize those, because I've been internalizing those over many years, and it just breaks you down little by little.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to that issue, as I already have been working with institutions a lot already, and I can absolutely relate to what you're saying. But don't you think that, like, to give like a positive future outlook, as we are also in Germany and also I think in Denmark and in other countries, we are on the edge to something very new. So we're playing around with new technology, new ways to communicate. So aren't there also the chances high to have to create your own structures within where you will be able to work just as you please?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And it will happen, just because the technologies that we are now dealing with, they will become more ubiquitous, and it will need human computer design, interface design, in order for us to actually navigate well within those. So there is an absolute need for expertise. And as I mentioned before, like those outside pressures, that can be because kind of like German governance is now saying, you have to show us that your project is hitting A, B, C, D. So that's the outside pressure, because they know they need to change something. So the pressure is just there because they know they need to change. And people like us in these hackathons, we know that there's like how we can change. But telling that to people is very... You always have to show it to them, basically. No, show, don't tell. So if we would tell an institution, hey, shut up, you're being mean now, then that's not very constructive. But if we're showing them, hey, look, what we've done without having to adhere to your rules that you think you still need to adhere to, that's one thing, but also like the thing that you actually asked for. Also, with that. So it's like it's completely worthwhile. The fight getting to do this is absolutely worth it, because in 10 years time this will be it already is one of the biggest sectors globally. The video gaming industry has surpassed any kind of other form of medium right now in popularity, not in critical kind of like discussion, because that's where video games are still falling behind. But the technology of video games is so far ahead of what we are doing within our kind of day-to-day lives. So those two worlds will start getting closer and closer together, as you can see with the rise of Twitch and stuff like that. So kind of like huge popular video game based formats. Oh yeah, Unreal Engine 5, absolutely, Alexandre.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that,
Yeah.
100%, because the technology there with Lumen and Nanite, the great thing about Unreal Engine 5 is that, again, when you're working in XR, you're always working with the limitations of the body. And the limitations of the body, for example, is also the ability of your eyes to see certain resolutions and stuff like that. So nowadays, Unreal Engine 5 can do a couple of tricks in order to still use like very high poly 3D models, but compute them in a way that you can just throw in like a trillion geometry big 3D file into your game engine, and it can still show it in real time. And also global illumination is a huge thing. So yeah, if you want to see what kind of the near future brings, which is Unreal 5, type into YouTube Unreal 5 demo.
Yeah, check that out. When I saw that on the presentation of Unity, of Unreal, sorry, I was really blown away. I was like, from the view of a 3D artist and as a designer, it is just unbelievable what details you can show in what resolution and what worlds can be created. And I always want to get back to the topic of like to the main frame we're having, like the science communication. And most of you are, I think, more digital artists or animation artists rather than being text or like VR experts. But I think what we want to show is that it's so worth so much to go into, to team up with people who are experts in technology, or just at least look to the horizon and see what will be here. And well, I think 10 years is almost too much. I think we will reach a new level of technology merging into our reality in the next 5 years. I think, and I think 10 years, a decade is, well, in 10 years, well, I don't know what's going to be here in 10 years, but I think the next 5 years already might be a real life changer. And so it's always and that's also the reason why we invited you guys to present your studio, because it's always so important for everyone, I think, to see what's happening, and that you also just can start playing. Yeah, I mean, both of you, Dennis and Debbie, you didn't study 3D I don't know, technology and computer graphics. You started as artists. You started in the playground. You started in the sandbox, and you still kind of are there, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the exciting thing about this time as well, because the technology is new.
And it's free.
Yes, it's free, it's new, and we have to try these things out. And a lot of people have to try these things out. Otherwise, we never know what is good or nice or bad. We need to try these things out. So yeah, I guess whenever I kind of do my railing against institutions and these kind of things, what I want to say is not to despair over it, but if you get pushback on good things, just keep on pushing. You know, it's the same in any industry that changes. If you think back at the early days of Hollywood, when they started going from silent films to talkies, that was huge as well for the structure in Hollywood, and it kind of destroyed a couple of studios and destroyed some actors' careers. So it's always kind of, whenever there's something new happening, you will get pushback. Yeah. It's normal, because people
right, and yeah, that's absolutely true. And on the other hand, it's super important then, because we as designers, we as creative people, I think we are the ones who can critically and kind of also put some critics into new technology. We can look at technology out from from outside and from inside, but we will be the ones who kind of control media also. I mean, it's not just using it, but also reflecting it and talk about it and showing up problems and not just like, hey, yeah, we're here for technology and let's go crazy, but we also are the ones who can be the critiques, and that's a very important role. So also here, I'd like to encourage you all to get into the future. Okay.
Yeah, especially if you haven't got a Epic Games account yet for Unreal, go get that account, because what they do every month, they give out assets for free. And they've been doing that for 2 years now. And sometimes you get assets, basically, you don't, like, at a certain point, you will not need to program at all to make games or interactive things. They are working very hard. Like, there are a lot of people, billion-dollar companies, working very hard to make these programs in a way that artists without technical knowledge can actually start participating in it, because they have the problem of not having enough people. Basically, they need more people, and that's why they are refining their tools and stuff like that. So if you start getting into it now, you kind of get basically the best of both worlds. You get a couple of technical things that you can still learn and research or know about, and just knowing about them is very good when you are talking to actual experts, because then you know what your parameters are in order to create work within it. And I forgot what my sentence started with, so I'll just stop here. Get yourself an Unreal account and get all these free things. Get them now. Just collect them. I've not used them. I've got a huge collection of assets that I've not used, but at some point they might be handy. And these are blueprints as well. So Unreal uses blueprints. That's what they call their code. And blueprints is basically a node system. So it's not writing as much, but more like putting together nodes to make a function happen. And you can also get those things. You can just find them and Google them. So if you need a code to open a door, how to open a door in Unreal, and then you probably get a blueprint that will do it for you.
Maybe Dennis, I wanted to ask you guys, anyways, if you could send me like some links, your contact information, and also maybe the presentation as an email. And maybe you could also just put some helpful stuff in there, and I will post that tomorrow to the board we were using. And so everyone here will be able to get the information and dig in.
That sounds great.
Your work as well as the technology you're using. That would be really helpful.
Yeah.
So, is there anyone in the crowd that would like to ask a question now? Now is the time to ask questions.
No, I was just saying it was very nice. I liked it. It's very inspirational.
Thank you.
Great. And nice to see you again.
Thank you, Micha. Thanks. Yeah, but yeah, if you have questions later, just send us an email. We're nice people, especially Debbie. She's very nice. I love her. She's great. I'll take some more painkillers now, and then we'll be around though. So I think what's happening now? You're going back to work now.
Well, right? Yes, right now I will send the crew back to work, and at 1 p.m. in 1 hour, we will have another round of mentoring on spatial. So you all have the links ready, and if you have any questions regarding the topics you're working on, or if you have question regarding your animation techniques or anything technical, motion design wise, I'll be there. And for the topics, we will be teaming up with the Ocean Summit. So we will meet you there, and we will be there for let's say half an hour. If nobody needs anything, we know you are working, and if you're there at 1 p.m., we will be there and waiting for you in the room. And then, well, of course, 4 p.m. will be the final presentations, and of course, Debbie, Dennis, if you have the time and if you would like to join us, we will be really happy. And yeah, well, we will meet in the Zoom link. The link, well, I sent around the link, but you also will find on the Miro board. It's the second Zoom link, because we created a room especially for the final presentation, so we won't get disturbed in here while working. And yeah, 4 p.m. Please be there on time. So we will have everyone presenting. Oh, there is a question by Anne-Kathrin. Yeah.
Yes, should we send you our things then via mail?
Depends on what format you want to show. Of course, if it's a video, you can transfer it via WeTransfer, and I will download it and I will show the work from our computer here in Anschlag campus. So we're sure we can switch on, optimize for video and stuff like that. And if you just if you want to show just the style frames or storyboard, of course you can just go ahead then and share your screen. So yeah, but please kind of make sure that the data is arriving before 4 p.m. so we will have time to download it and also prepare it for the presentation. That's all part of the hacking. It's not just hacking, it's also data transferring. Okay, Anna, yeah, that's thumbs up. I thought it was a hand, little digital hands. No, all right. So guys, see you in a bit or at 4 p.m. And again, Dennis and Debbie, thank you so much for these inspirational words and your presentation. And I'm really amazed. The whole already from what we got and as input in the last 1.5 days, amazing, mind-blowing and motivating. And I'm really sure that this might we already set some seeds here and there, and we will see some growth in the next months. And I'm really excited to see what will happen with you guys. Okay.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. And it's such a cute event. We really like the event.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Really liked as well that I got to listen to some nice songs in your starting animation as well, all ocean themed. Yeah, no, really well done, Matthias. It's very welcoming and warm, and that's really nice. That's really nice to have.
Yeah, the most important thing is that we're having a good experience here, and yeah, we will be motivated to start something new, maybe, or keep on going wherever we are. That's the main reason, right?
Yeah, looking forward to 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be there.
Cool.
Good. Okay, good luck.
Afternoon now, early afternoon, and yeah, see you later.
Bye-bye. Good luck, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And yeah, so if you have any questions regarding the hackathon now, I would also say see you later or at 1 p.m. for asking questions or just having a chat. It's always nice to having a chat. And yeah, hope you are all pumped for the last few hours. Okay, see you later. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Bye.